The Crow. This movie was a big deal. The Crow is from 1994. It lasts 1 hour 41 minutes and it stars Brandon Lee. It's dark. It is really dark. The movie opens in a crime scene. A young couple has been murdered. Yeah, this is Eric Draven, and his fiancée Shelley. Sergeant Albrecht, Ernie Hudson, is investigating the crime, and we hear the voice of a young girl. Yeah, this is Sarah. Sarah's voice. You'll need her in a minute, right? Well, Sarah is saying that there's a story about when someone dies, a crow takes their spirit to the afterlife. But sometimes, if a great injustice has been done, the crow won't take them. It'll hang around and wait for them to finish its unfinished business, basically. Yeah, she says it a bit more poetically than that.
People once believed that when someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead. But sometimes, something so bad happens, soul can't rest. Just sometimes, the crow can bring that soul back to put the wrong things right.
So while Shelley's been taken away in the ambulance to die, well, she dies in hospital over the course of like 3 hours. Yeah, Sarah appears and sees this, and Albrecht says, "Is that your sister?" And she says, "No, she's just my friend. Her and Eric sometimes take care of me." It's all very sad. But then we cut to 1 year later, and there's a crow sitting on a gravestone, and the gravestone says, "Eric Draven."
Who did you expect?
And then Eric Draven starts to come out the grave. While he's digging out his way out of the grave and stumbling back to life, we see the gang who were responsible for his and his fiancee's murders. Yeah, and they're planning another night of chaos because Halloween, Devil's Night, is their favourite time of the year. 1 or 2 days around Halloween is when they cause most chaos for some reason. Eric eventually stumbles his way back to his own apartment. Yeah, right, no one's moved in there. The police state is still up. It's been a year. Surely someone would be like, "Oh, I'll live here." Or the police would be, "Well, there's nothing more I can do. Take the Tate off, boys." But he goes back. It is empty, to be fair. But yeah, no one's moved in.
Weird.
His cat's still there. Yeah.
It's even weirder.
Here's a little flashback of the attack. Sarah was assaulted. Eric was beaten, stabbed, thrown out a window. Yet, while he's there, he cuts himself on the glass of the window, which still hasn't been repaired a year later. And when he does, he looks at his hands and the cuts heal instantly. Yeah, he's got tires.
Spooky.
I mean, I think you probably knew that, what would been back from the dead and stuff. You never know. Now, throughout this movie, the crow that we saw on the gravestone will be his guide. He can see what the crow sees. Yeah, it's like Assassin's Creed when you send that bird up in the air. Yeah, I suppose. So anyway, the crow goes for a little fly. It sees one of the gang members, Tintin. This guy, he's like in a pawn shop and he's selling stolen goods. And he gets nanny, leaves, goes down a dark alley, and Tintin is like a knife expert. They've all got something, these gang members. So Eric races across the rooftops of the city and finds Tintin in the dark alley. Yeah, they have a fight, and Tintin throws knives at him. He says, "I never miss." Instantly misses twice. Doesn't think anything of it, doesn't react. No, he doesn't. But Eric takes the knives and stabs Tintin. Yet, die Tintin. Isle in Thorn Snowy. After this, we see the crime lord of the city, Top Dollar. He has a room above a nightclub. Yeah, and he's there with his girlfriend, right? And his girlfriend is called Micah, and she is like, she claims to be mystic. Yeah, and she's obsessed with eyes.
Eyes.
They've got like a dead goonin next to them, and she's like, "Oh, I really like her eyes." So they take her eyes out. Yeah, they do. So Top Dollar and Micah are speaking about what they're going to do on Devil's Night. They're going to cause more chaos than ever before. Meanwhile, Eric goes to the pawn shop where Tintin had just been. Yeah, this is Gideon's, and Gideon is the little guy behind the counter, and he's like, "What do you want, mate? We're closed." And he pulls a gun on Eric and shoots him. That, it doesn't work. No, Eric wants Shelley's stolen wedding ring back, her engagement ring back. So he goes through the engagement rings and gets back the one he's looking for, keeps it, and then puts others inside a shotgun. And he aims it at Gideon, And Gideon's like, oh no, please don't kill me. He's also poured gasoline everywhere, and he says to Gideon,
Is that gasoline I smell? No.
and he shits it with a shotgun full of engagement rings. The sparks create a big explosion. Gideon manages to get out just in time, but he is burned and hurt. And humiliated, yeah. Not only did Eric get his engagement ring back from Gideon, he also got some information on another gang member, Funboy. Funboy. And Funboy is an addict, right? And he and his girlfriend, Darla, he's kind of like got tired of her cause of the narcotics. And Darla is Sarah's nun. Out on the street, Albrecht bumps into Eric. Yeah, and he's like, wait, aren't you dead? And then Eric just disappears while he's speaking like that, man.
So that's what that feels like.
Then Eric also bumps into Sarah. Yeah, she's gonna cross the road without looking on her skateboard, and Sheldon gets hit by a car. Eric grabs her, and she's like, hey, get your hands off me, creep. And then he hides his face, knowing about the weather, and he says, it can't rain all the time. Which is something he said to her when he's alive. Yeah, and she says, Eric.
The time.
Eric?
Turns round, and he's gone again. How rude. Yeah. At Funboy's place, Funboy is injecting Darla with morphine, and he's taking some himself, and he's planning on a night of whatever. Yeah, and then Eric comes in with a guitar for some reason. Yeah, I don't know why he's brought his guitar. He doesn't use it, but he approaches Funboy.
Here, fun boy.
Eventually Funboy is like, get out of my house, pulls out a gun, starts to shoot Eric. Yeah, the Eric's like, these don't hurt me. And he takes a gun and shoots Funboy. Darla runs off, hides in the bathroom, but Eric follows her in, squeezes the morphine out her veins, and says, go home, Sarah is waiting for you. After this, we see Sergeant Albrecht in his apartment. Yeah, he's walking around in boxer shorts and his police hat. How strange. Well, anyway, Eric comes in and has a little chat with him and says, it is me, I am dead, but I'm back to clean up this mess. And Albrecht's like, oh, cool. Well, good luck. Eric says, I know you're a good man. You stayed with Shelley the whole time while she was dying, basically. Yeah. And then leaves. Yeah. He actually says goodbye this time and uses the door.
At last, thank you.
Before he leaves, Eric finds out some more information about the gang and who they are and about what actually happened that night. We see Gideon having a meeting with Top Dollar. Yeah. And he's like, oh, this guy's crazy. He says Eric Draven is coming for the whole gang. Yeah, Top Dollar's not even part of this gang, to be honest. I mean, he had nothing to do with what happened a year ago. But he says, I'll take care of it. And then he's got a big cabinet of, like, knives and swords. And he takes a big sword and kills Gideon. Stabs him in the throat and then shoots him. That's right. And then Micah says, oh, I like his eyes. I don't know where this is going. We also find out that Top Dollar and Micah have the same father. Yeah. They're lovers and half siblings. What? The Crow and Eric managed to track down a couple more gang members who are on the street. One of them, Skank, Skank, goes into a shop to get some beer. Other one waits in a car. This is T-Bird. Yeah, T-Bird. And while T-Bird's waiting in his car, Eric appears in the seat behind him and he says, drive. So he makes T-Bird drive, and he makes him drive faster and faster and faster, all the way through the city. Yeah, and Skank comes out the shop, he's like, where are you going? And then Skank gets hit by a car, steals that guy's car, and goes chasing them, and then there's all this chasing going on, the cops join in. Eric and T-Bird and the cops are heading towards the docks. Skank comes flying out the tunnel and is T-boned by the cop car. So now Eric and T-Bird are at the docks. Eric uses duct tape and tapes T-Bird to his driver's seat, tapes his hands to the wheel, and tapes his foot to the pedal.
It's gonna take a lot of duct tape.
And the car's also filled with explosives. Yep, good luck, T-Bird. Eric makes the car drive right off the dock and explode before it hits the water. Pretty cool. And then the destined, you think so? Yeah. Throws a load of gasoline in the ground and he lights it. And it makes a crow symbol. Really cool. It is really cool. The next day, Sarah wakes up and is surprised to see her mum Darla is there and she's making her a cooked breakfast. Yeah, so that's a nice little moment. Yeah. And then we see Skank speaking to Top Dollar. He's saying, there's a ghost after me. He's taking out all the other gang members. Now he's after me. And Top Dollar says, there is no ghost, calm down. Micah says, well, this character, whoever it is, does have some sort of power that you can steal. So Top Dollar says, oh well, I can't wait to meet him. That night, Top Dollar and a whole room full of armed men are planning chaos for tonight, because even though that gang's out the way, there's still loads of soldiers you can use to cause chaos and burn the city to the ground, basically. Yeah, and meanwhile, Sarah goes to Eric's old apartment and Trotterly meets him and realises, oh, it is you. And Eric's like, yes, it is me. Do. He doesn't say boo. He should. That'd be funny. So on Top Dollar's meeting, a crow flies in. Eric follows, and Eric says, don't worry guys, I'm not here for any of you, I just want him, and points to Skank. And then there's a big fight. Top Dollar says, oh, I'm bored of this guy. Shoot him. So they all shoot him. He falls off the table, and then he sneakily grabs one of the guys from under the table, takes him out, takes his weapon, starts shooting back. Yeah, but then he runs out of bullets, right? So then he starts using the knives and the swords from that big cabinet. And then he starts using his hand, and it's a cool scene. And there's strobe light going, so it's even cooler. Yeah. And then Top Dollar, Micah, and Top Dollar's right-hand man, Grange, have all left the building. Yes, and now it's just Eric and Skank. And Eric says, it's time, Skank, and Skank says,
What a skank. That skank right there. Skank's dead.
That's right.
Skank's dead. But Eric knows the truth, so he takes out Skank. And then I guess because of all the gunshots, a police chopper appears and starts opening fire. Yeah, so Eric runs away and he runs out the building through across all these rooftops being shot at by a police chopper. Makes it down to street level and he's still being chased. But then Sergeant Albrecht, who's just been suspended by the way, yeah, he was a bit cheeky to his commanding officer, so he's been suspended. He's in civilian clothes, but he stops and picks up Eric. He says, get in! I'll give you some advice. Next time, duck. That it's not a duck, it's a crow. No. Now Sarah's on the street, she's heading back home, and then Grange grabs her. Yeah, he kidnaps her, and he takes her to a church. And in the church, there's Nika and Top Dollar. And they lure Eric there. Yeah, the crow sees what's happened to Sarah, so Eric goes chasing after her, and Sergeant Albrecht is not too far behind. So Eric goes in, the crow goes in, that Grange is looking at the sniper rifle, and he shoots the crow.
Did you kill that poor bird?
Yeah, because Micah has figured out somehow that if they take out the crow, then Eric will be powerless. He'll be just like any other human. Yeah, shooting a crow though, is that nuts? Well, they're bad guys, I suppose. Top Dollar instantly shoots Eric. Eric says, I won't swear. Yeah, he swears. And then he collapses to the ground. Yeah. But luckily Sergeant Albrecht comes in and shoots Grange, and there's a big run and gun battle. Eric hides behind the pews. Nika and Top Dollar manage to get a shot off and hit Albrecht. Yeah, he's lying wounded. Sarah manages to escape, but she goes and sits with Albrecht. Yeah, Eric chases Nika and Top Dollar up the stairs of the church. On the way up the stairs, they realise the crow isn't actually dead, it's just injured. So Micah grabs it and she's like, oh, I'm going to kill this thing. And then she's at the top of the staircase and the crow picks her eyes out. It's disgusting, but funny. Oh, I don't know if it's funny. Ironic. Yeah, but picks her eyes out. She falls backwards all through the belfry to the bottom of the church, where she is dead. Yeah, she's definitely dead. Top Dollar makes it onto the roof of the church. Eric follows and they have a bit of a sword fight. How quaint. Top Dollar's too good with swords for Eric. Eric is losing badly. Yeah, Eric's about to be killed. The final blow is cunning. That Top Dollar starts to talk to him. Always a mistake. And Eric grabs him by the head. Eric says, I've got something in me that you can have. I don't want any more.
30 hours of pain. All at once.
The pain is so intense. Top Dollar falls back off the roof and falls down onto the street below. Nope. He falls onto a gargoyle. Yeah, where he's steered and killed horrifically. That's horrendous. Eric goes back inside. Albrecht says he'll be okay. Sarah says I'll stay with him until help comes here. Eric says goodbye to them properly and he heads back to his grave. Yeah, he makes it to his grave. He's crawling, he's getting weaker and weaker. That he gets to his grave, collapses beside it, and then Shelley appears to come to take him back to the afterlife. They're reunited in death. The camera pans up as we hear Sarah's voice say, people die, but real love is forever. And that's the end. So how is this such a big deal? Well, it wasn't a huge budget, clearly. No. Part of it is because during the filming, there was a tragic accident and Brandon Lee died. What? Yeah. I'll tell you all about it later. But that certainly made the film more of a curiosity piece. But I think it was already going to be a bit of a big hit because it's something a lot of audiences really wanted. It was a comic book, and they really wanted a movie of it. And Brandon Lee was the perfect casting. He's great in the movie. Did you like it? I liked the movie. I just always found it a bit, a bit too dark for me, a bit too goth. The aesthetic of the movie, I don't think, is that enjoyable for me. It's good. Just a bit, maybe a bit bigger budget or a different director. It might have been great. Different actors. No, I thought Brandon Lee was great. I thought her in it was great. But I really like Brandon Lee from Rapid Fire, from Showdown Little Tokyo. Also, when I saw this when I was 14 or 15, I was a bit disappointed because I knew Brandon Lee as a martial artist and he didn't do any martial arts in this movie. So I think that might have had an impact on the way I felt about it. Okay, he's an actor. I know, but at the time I thought, oh, he'll do karate kicks, but he didn't. Anyway, did you like it? I thought it was great, really. It's dark, it's nitty, it's sticky. I really liked it. Alright, I'm going to go and watch it again. Alright, okay, right now. Right, okay. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, watch another video. We'll see you next time.